Hello, my beloved friends, and welcome to our today's class. It's our fourth lesson on the second topic of Form 3 work, which is called refraction of light. As usual, let me comment by giving you the quote of the day, which states that life shrinks and expands proportionately with our willingness to take risks. We shall discuss that quote at the end of our class today. So today we are looking at refraction through successive media. So here we shall be looking at a ray of light traversing maybe 2 or 3 or 4 media which are following each other closely, or which are successive. Successive simply means we have various media which are close to each other, such that a given ray of light flows from one medium, for example medium 1, to the next medium, which is medium 2. From medium 2 it flows to the next medium, which is medium 3, and back to maybe our first medium, which was air. So for this particular case, for example, in this scenario here, we are looking at a ray of light moving through 3 media. That is, it is moving the refractive index from medium 1 to medium 3. That is from the first medium, which is air, up to medium 2, then up to medium 3 shall be given by. So the refractive index from medium 1, which is air, up to medium 3 shall be given by the product of the refractive indices of that particular ray as it moves from medium 1 to medium 2, which is given by n medium 1 to medium 2, multiplied by the refractive index as this ray now moves from medium 2 to medium 3. So this shall be given by refractive index from medium 2 up to medium 3. So such a formula can also be applied when we are talking of maybe a ray moving through 4 successive media, whereby a ray of light from medium 1 to medium 4 shall be given by the product of the refractive indices from medium 1 to 2 multiplied by the refractive indices from index from medium 2 to 3 multiplied by the refractive index from medium 3 to medium 4. So you need to know this particular relationship when we have a given ray of light flowing through more than 2 medium. So the most important thing here is, first of all, to identify the starting medium and the ending medium. For example, in this case, the first medium is our air, so the ending medium is medium 3. So we talk of refractive index as the ray moves from medium 1 up to the third medium here. So from medium 1 to medium 2 shall be given by the product of the refractive index as the ray moves from our first medium to the second medium, that is medium 1, which is air, to medium 2, that is n1 to 2, then followed by, as the ray moves now from medium 2 up to medium 3, which is given by n medium 2 to medium 3. Therefore, so we can just have a general format that for a given number of medium, for example k medium, the refractive index from the first medium up to the kth medium, or from the first medium up to the last medium, shall be given by the product of the refractive index of the ray from medium 1 to medium 2 multiplied by the refractive index from medium 2 to medium 3 multiplied by the refractive index from medium 3 to medium 4. It continues that way until we get to the last medium, which is medium k. So it will be the refractive index from k minus 1 2 up to medium k. So for that particular relationship, you have to be careful and see that the numbers, that is the medium in between here, are always the same. For example, here from 2 to 2, here you can see we have 2 to 2, then here we have 3 to 3. Then the first medium always comes here first, then the last medium, which is the fourth medium, comes last. Similar case as shown in this particular diagram, the ray is emanating or starting from our first medium, which is medium 1. So you can see refractive index from medium 1, then our ray is ending into the third medium, which is medium 3. So refractive index from medium 1 to medium 3 shall be given by, we just add the values, the refractive index as the ray moves from medium 1 to medium 2, which is given by n medium 1 to 2 multiplied by refractive index from medium 2 to medium 3, which is given by n medium 2 to medium 3. So you need to know that particular relationship. So let's look at an example involving the same. So the example reads that the refractive index of water is 4/3 and that of glass is 3/2. We are required to calculate the refractive index of glass with respect to water. Now, when the question says the refractive index of glass with respect to water, this one means that the ray of light is moving from the water medium towards the glass medium. So when we talk of refractive index of glass with respect to water, this one means the ray of light is moving from the last medium, which is water, towards the initial medium, which is glass. That's why you have seen me here drawing a ray of light flowing from our first medium, which is the last medium, which is water, towards the our first medium, which was glass. So be very careful when you are interpreting this particular statement, because you can easily interchange them. So we have said that if you are told that to calculate the refractive index of glass with respect to water, this one means the ray of light will always be moving from the last stated medium towards the first stated medium. Therefore, the ray of light is moving from water to glass. Now, we also assume that the initial medium is always the air. That is, before the ray comes to our first medium, which is water, it came from air. Then we also assume that after our ray of light moves through the last medium, which is glass, it goes back to air. It's just like this particular case up here, that our initial medium is air, which is medium 1, then also our last medium is air. So it is the same case. So we are told that the refractive index of water is 4/3. So that means the ray of light, before it gets to water, it is starting from air until it goes to water. Therefore, the refractive index from air, when it goes to the water medium, that is air to the water medium, is 4/3 that have been provided from the question. And that of glass is 3/2. So this one means that the ray of light moving from air to glass is 3/2. That is, for both cases, we assume that the ray of light is starting or emanating from air, that the ray of light is starting from air. Therefore, if you are given the refractive index of glass as 3/2, this one means the refractive index of air moving, that is a ray of light moving from air towards the glass, will be given by 3/2. Now, we are required to calculate the refractive index, that is of the refractive index of water, that is of water with respect, of glass with respect to water. So this shall be given by N water, water glass, that is N water towards the glass. So that is how we interpret this particular question here. Now we know that because the question wants us to calculate the refractive index of glass with respect to water, it means we shall find the refractive index N of water, a ray of light moving from water towards the glass. That's why I've started with the refractive index of water, that is W, towards the glass. Now from this particular relationship up here, we said that refractive index from water to glass shall be given by refractive index N from water to air multiplied by refractive index from air to glass. Again, you can see air is the shared medium in this particular case. That's why we have air in between here. Just like in the same case, we had medium 2 and medium 2 here, also medium 3 and medium 3 here. You can also see that for 3, that is for a ray of light moving through maybe 3 medium, that is between air, water and glass, this shall be the equation. So the medium that is shared, for example, here we had medium 2 being shared in this particular case. You can see that the values are in between. In this case, air is the medium that is being shared. Therefore, we talk of air. Then you can see that the ray of light is coming from water, because we were told refractive index of glass with respect to water. Therefore, it means the ray of light is starting from water towards the glass. So you can see that my initial value is, I'm starting with water. That is the ray, the medium through which the ray of light is starting to move from. Then the last value here is the value that is the refractive, the medium through which our ray of light is ending at. So it is starting from water and finishing at the glass. So we have the incident ray in water medium and the refracted ray in the glass medium. So the first medium through which the ray is moving in always starts. That's why I have my W here, and the last medium, or the medium in which we have the angle of refraction, will always come last. That's why I have glass here. Then in between we have the medium that is being shared, for example air air. But from the question, we have the refractive index from air to water, which is 4/3, and the refractive index of air to glass, which is 3/2. Therefore, we have to manipulate our equation such that it suits the values that we have been given in this particular question. So from the question on the right hand side, we are given refractive index from air to water, then air to glass. So air to glass has no problem because we'll just substitute it. So we need to change refractive index from water to air so that we take it back to air to water. From our previous class, we did so that when you have a ray of light moving from water to air, it's just the same as saying the reciprocal of the refractive index of a ray moving from air to water. That is, whenever you have the reciprocal, you interchange the direction of movement of that particular ray of light. Therefore, refractive index from water to air is just the same as the reciprocal of the refractive index from air to water. And I'm interchanging so that I get air to water that I can easily substitute. Therefore, if I substitute 1/n air to water in the region where I have refractive index from water to air, I'll have this equation will become refractive index from water to glass being equal to here I have refractive index from water to air, and remember refractive index from water to air is given by 1/the refractive index from air to water. Therefore, I just substitute in this equation 1/, refractive index from air to water multiplied by our last value, which was the refractive index from air to glass. Then after that, we just substitute the values so that we have 1 divided by refractive index from air to water. I had 4/3. So 1 divided by 4/3, then multiplied by refractive index from air to glass. So from air to glass, I'm given as 3/2. So multiplied by 3/2. So this is the same as saying, remember when you divide, you multiply by the reciprocal. Therefore, this term here, that is 1/4/3, will become 1 multiplied by the reciprocal of 4/3, which is 3/4. Then we multiplied by 3/2. So this becomes 1 times 3 times 3 will get 9, then 4 times 2 will get 8. Therefore, 8 divided by 9 divided by 8 will get 1.125. Then another thing, remember that refractive index is a ratio, and therefore it does not have any units because the units do cancel out, or they do cancel each other. So the most important thing to remember here is this particular equation. So you just look at the ray from which the medium in which the ray is starting its motion, and you have said that if you are told glass with respect to water, it means the ray of light is moving from water medium towards the glass medium. Therefore, our first medium becomes water. So you just take refractive index from water to glass, that is from n water to glass, will be equal to the product of the refractive index from water to air. That is, the first medium is water, therefore we talk of water. Then the last medium is glass, you put glass at the end. Then the shared medium here is air, you just put air here. From there, you just compute your values. Example 2 reads that calculate the angle theta below, given that the refractive indices of glass and water is 3/4 and 4/3 respectively. So in this case, we are already given a diagram, and the diagram shows that the ray of light is moving from water medium to glass medium. Now, because we are told from the question that given that the refractive indices of remember, indices is just the plural of refractive index. So the plural form of index is indices. Of glass and water is 3/2 and 4/3 respectively. So this means the refractive index for glass is 3/2. Therefore, n glass is 3/2. Remember, we assume that the ray is starting from air before it gets to water and also before it gets to glass. That's why I'm indicating refractive index n from air to glass is 3/2. Then we are also given that of water is 4/3. So we also assume that initially the ray of light was coming from air before it went to water. So this becomes n air to water, which we are given as 4/3. Now, for us to find our angle theta, we need a relationship between the refractive indices through those particular medium. So we want, for us to find theta, we'll look for a formula that is relating refractive index of a ray moving from water to glass. So refractive index, because this the ray is incident in the water medium and it is refracted in the glass medium, it means our first medium is water. So therefore we'll have refractive index of a ray moving from water to glass, that is n water to glass, being equal to, again you just go to the first medium through which the ray is moving in, that is the water medium. So you put n, water has to start because that is the first medium that the ray is moving through. Then the last medium is glass, so you just put glass on the other end. Then of course the shared medium is air and air, so in between we just put air, air. So you just have to make sure that the first medium through which your ray is coming from is the first value here, so W, that is for water. Then the last medium, which is glass, has to come at the end. Then in between you just put air, air, because that is the medium that is being shared in this particular case. Now we have n air to glass and we have n air to water, but the formula is having water to air and air to glass. So I have air to glass, so this one has no issue, but water to air, I have to change it to air to water. Now we know that refractive index from water to air is just the same as saying the reciprocal of the refractive index from air to water. That is, when you take the reciprocal, you just interchange. If it was from water to air, it now becomes air to water. That is, when we take the reciprocal, it is just like a given law of logarithm that we looked at in mathematics, that whenever you take the reciprocal, then the first value and the last value do swap, or they interchange their positions. Therefore, once we have this formula, we can now just easily substitute our values. Therefore, this will be 1 divided by refractive index from air to water, which we have as 4/3. Therefore, we have 1 divided by 4/3 multiplied by refractive index from air to glass, which we have as 3/2. So multiplied by 3/2, which will be equal to, remember, whenever you divide, you multiply by the reciprocal. So 1/4/3 is the same as saying 1 multiplied by the reciprocal of 4/3, which is 3/4. Then we multiply by 3/2. Then 3, 1 times 3 times 3, we get 9. Then 4 times 2, we get 8. So this will be equal to 1.125 as our refractive index from water to glass. Then also from our previous class, we did say that if you have a ray of light moving from medium 1 to medium 2, is the same as saying the sign of I in the first medium over the sign of R in the second medium. Therefore, because our ray of light is moving from water to glass, it means refractive index from water to glass is the same as the sign of the angle of incidence, that is the angle between our ray and the normal in our first medium, then divided by sine R, which is our angle between the refracted ray and the normal in the second medium, in this case, which is glass. Therefore, n water to glass is equals to sine I over sine R, or the sine of the angle between the ray and the normal in the first medium divided by the sine of the angle between the ray and the normal in the second medium, which is just the angle of refraction. So if I substitute the values, I'll have n water to glass, we already calculated it as 1.125. So we'll have 1.125 being equal to the sine of I, that is the angle of incidence, the angle between the normal and our incident ray in the water medium, which is the sine of 30 degrees, divided by the sine of the angle of refraction, that is the sine of angle theta, or which we are just calling angle R, or the angle of refraction. So this will be equal to, I'll multiply both sides by the sine of R, therefore I'll have 1.125 times the sine of R being equal to, remember sine R and sine R on the right hand side will cancel out, so that we just remain with sine 30 degrees. Therefore, if I want to make sine R to be the subject of the formula, I'll divide both sides by 1.125. Therefore, sine R will be equal to sine 30 divided by 1.125. Therefore, if I want R, I'll take sine inverse on both sides. Therefore, R will be equal to the sine inverse of sine 30 divided by 1.125. If you compute this using your calculator, you will find R being equal to 26.4 degrees. And remember that R is equals to theta. Therefore, theta, r is equals to theta, which is equals to 26.4 degrees. So I have an exercise here which I recommend you should try at your own free time and see or gauge whether you have understood the examples that you have just done. So we've come to the end of our class today, but we need to discuss the quote of the day. The quote of the day stated that life shrinks and expands proportionately with our willingness to take risks. So the quote is encouraging us to be risk takers. It is also encouraging us to try out new things in an optimistic way. That is, in a way that we expect positive results. So the quote is also warning us that the only way we can grow and improve our ability to solve problems and to perform some certain tasks is by taking more risks in life. Because remember, the more risks you encounter, the more challenges you encounter, and therefore the more you will look for the solutions to solve those particular problems. Hence, in the process, you end up growing. And lastly, remember that trying to be perfect is an excuse that most people use when they don't want to do something. Therefore, don't be most people. Thank you very much for accompanying me until the end of this particular lesson. I do not take it for granted. This is Kind Tuition Academy. Until next time.